Okay, this is a 567V HD recorder. I am going to show you real quick how to do a hack. I've already taken the screws out, had a little interruption on that part of the video, but let me show you. Underneath a same colored plastic piece, there'll be a screw there. Underneath the label at the bottom, whether it be a serial number or a made in China, there's a screw there. There are two screws here, 1 and 2. Underneath another little plastic piece is a screw there and a screw there. Okay, you take all those out, and what I use is a little flat screwdriver first to pop out the little plastic pieces that go there, and then you just set them off, and then you can put them back in there. Run your finger then, or you'll pop open your battery door, gently pry it at the bottom, and then you can close it if you want. And then just run your finger all the way around the edge, and you will hear some of it snap. Okay, and it comes off. Now, one of the more difficult parts in this is getting it to come out so that this post right here at the battery door stays in. Ideally, that's the best way. Then you don't have to worry about the spring popping off. All told, it's not a big deal if the spring doesn't pop off, but or if it does, you can put it back in. Anyway, you separate your cam into two parts, and this is the part you work on. So this is where your shutter is going to go, and then your power is going to go, and this is where you're going to do your negative and your positive for external power or the common. If you don't want to do any external power, you're going to have 3 points that we wire to. So anyway, that's taking the case apart. Now, what you do, and I'll switch this to macro. What you have here are two screws, one here and one over here. We're going to remove those now. These are the bottom ones for the board. Next, you got a screw right here on the silver plate holding on the bottom of the LCD, and 3 screws here, 1, 2, and 3. Take off those 4 screws and your LCD will be loose. Now it depends on which model you have at this point, and a 557 version will be different than the 567 version based on where the LCD ribbon gets attached to the board, and I'll show you that just here in a second. Okay, get your screws undone. Take that piece off. Okay. Now, on a 557 version, let's see if I can macro this for you and see any better. On a 557 version, your LCD mount is actually going to be right up here. Whereas on the 567 version, which is a later, your LCD ribbon is going to be right here. I actually prefer these because you don't really have to take off the ribbon to do what you need to do. Okay, so next thing you can do is, what I do is while the camera's still in there, I just loosen the 2 screws, one here, and I'll macro it for you, one here, and the other one over there, which release the lens. Okay, and just lay that back over gently, and then right here there's a clear space where you don't have any capacitors. I usually just take a fingernail, insert my fingernail up there, and just gently lift up on the board. Okay, then all you have to do is do that. Your lens will pop out from the board, and you're good to go. So next, there's 2 screws back here on the board. Oops. One here and one here, right in between the power and the speaker wires. So just gently remove those 2. Now you can gently lift out that bottom board. And what I do is I take my speaker wire, pull the speaker out, turn to the top side of the board, and then there are 3 screws holding in your glass. One there, and one there. Take those screws out. Don't take them all the way out, just unscrew them all the way. And you'll see the metal piece fall out. Drop your glass. You can take the metal piece, just slide it right back over where it goes. Okay, you're set there. Now that your stuff's out down here, put your board back approximately where it goes. Now I leave it out a little bit just so that I can come in there. Now I'm going to try to zoom in here on the camera. And I wish it was a little clearer for you. I don't know if the macro will do that or not. No, it won't. It makes it worse. But what you're looking at on one side, the speaker wire is red, and on the other side is black. What I do is I just take my soldering iron, and just for the sake of keeping a nice solid base, if you want at this point, you can screw in that bottom board. There's one other thing. I like to route my speaker wires under it just a little bit so that I can use up less space, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Anyway, I just take my soldering iron on it, lift it, just gently touch it, and they lift right off. Do not pull it hard, because then what will happen is you'll lift up the tape. Now while you're in there, go ahead and I just insert a little screwdriver underneath the red wire of the speaker, because you need to disconnect that because there's no way to turn the sound off internally on the 567. And a lot of times what I'll do for guys is just run this wire and solder another wire, run it outside the camera, and that way you'll have speaker capabilities. Yeah, you can, in other words, you can do an external switch. Bogard 2 had a great idea. He runs the speaker wires over, takes out the mechanism over here for the macro switch, and then runs his speaker in there. I'm not going to show that for the purposes of today, just simply because that's a little more of an external work, or a little bit more work than what I want to put into one today, at least this particular cam. The next video will actually show the hack.